The 1950s is often romanticized as the golden age of America. For kids, it was full of adventures that included lots of fun, but it all came with some level of risk. So let's take a look back at all the dangers that kids ignored in the 1950s that made childhood so memorable. In the 1950s, no one thought twice about the dangers of lead paint. Kids played with brightly painted toys, and young children may have even chewed on them, not knowing the dangerous effects. Houses had walls coated in lead-based paint, and when it chipped, children might have played with them, or at the very least, inhaled the dust without a care. Even art supplies like paint sets sometimes contained lead, but parents trusted they were safe. People thought lead-based paint was a great choice because it was long-lasting and very easy to clean, never realizing the true hidden risks. Back then, the street was like an extra playground. Kids spent hours playing games like kickball and stickball, often dodging cars without much thought. They'd ride bikes or roller skate on busy roads, wearing absolutely no protective gear. And if a ball rolled into the street, they'd race to chase it down, trusting that drivers passing by would stop. Even hide-and-seek was played around the parked cars in the street, creating some rather dangerous scenarios. But parents rarely worried, believing their children had the sense not to get themselves killed, and that drivers would watch out for kids playing in the streets. The Atomic Energy Lab was a popular toy that seemed exciting and futuristic. Kids could experiment with real uranium ore and use Geiger counters to measure radiation, all without the safety of gloves. Handling radioactive materials felt like an adventure, not a danger. The kit promised to teach science, so parents didn't really question it. Trust in the companies manufacturing these kits were so strong that no one imagined playing with radioactive materials might cause long-term health problems. Red Rover was a favorite schoolyard game where kids would run at full speed into locked arms, often causing bumps, bruises, or worse. Broken wrists or twisted ankles were just part of the fun, and falling hard onto pavement and getting the wind knocked out of you never stopped anyone from playing again and again because injuries were badges of honor. Schools encouraged these type games during recess, and parents considered any scrapes a normal part of growing up. The thrill of winning Red Rover always outweighed any risk. Playgrounds in the 1950s were built for thrills, not safety. Towering jungle gyms, super high slides, and swing sets made of metal were the norm. On hot summer days, metal slides burned bare legs, and rusty edges could easily cut you. Falls from these heights often led to broken bones or sprains, but kids didn't think twice. Then there was the ground, which was usually hard-packed dirt, gravel, or concrete, offering absolutely no cushion for falls. Still, these playgrounds were epic places for fun and courage, not fear. Speaking of the playground, jumping off swing sets was a popular activity, with kids trying to leap as high and as far as they could. They pumped the swings higher and higher before letting go, often landing awkwardly on hard ground. Competing for the longest jump made it even riskier, but no one wanted to miss out on the challenge. Twisted ankles and scraped knees were seen as part of the experience. Rediscover your past by digitizing your family's memories with LEGACYBOX. Watch until the end of this video to find out more about preserving your legacy, and then visit legacybox.com/recollection. Slingshots were a popular toy that kids often made themselves or bought at the store. They would use them to shoot rocks at cans, trees, or sometimes even each other. No one gave much thought to where the rocks might land or the harm they could cause. Eye injuries and other accidents were common, but they too were brushed off as part of the fun. Slingshots were seen as a tool for adventure and creativity, even if they came with a touch of danger. In rural areas, it wasn't unusual for kids to bring shotguns to school. Some schools even taught gun safety and offered shooting as a sport. The guns would be kept in lockers, ready to be used for hunting after class. Handling a gun was just commonplace back then, so it wasn't a concern for teachers or parents. It was seen as part of growing up and learning a skill that taught you to respect firearms. For For kids growing up in the 1950s, communism wasn't the scary threat that adults were fearing. While the Cold War loomed, children often played games inspired by spies and secret missions, making light of the political tension. Propaganda and school drills about nuclear attacks were seen as pretty routine rather than a serious threat, at least through the eyes of young kids. To most children, the real ramifications of communism seemed far away and almost fictional. Asbestos was everywhere, but no one knew how dangerous it actually was in the 1950s. Kids played in basements, attics, or near construction sites filled with asbestos materials. Parents trusted the safety of products like asbestos tiles and insulation, so they didn't stop their kids from being around them. Even makeup and toiletry products contained traces of asbestos, making it virtually impossible to avoid. To children, it wasn't something to worry about, but rather just part of their everyday life. Carrying a pocket knife in the 1950s was a sign of responsibility for many boys. They used them to carve wood, play games, or show them off to friends. Accidents like cuts and scratches were common, but they were seen as minor setbacks. Pocket knives were treated as tools, not weapons, and kids often brought them to school too without any issues. Parents actually encouraged their use, and they were seen as a rite of passage for many. They believed carrying a pocket knife taught independence and resourcefulness. Car safety in the 1950s was nothing like it is today. Seatbelts were rare, with kids often climbing around the car while it was moving. Babies would either sit on laps, lay across the seat, or occasionally ride in an elevated booster seat, none of which kept them secure in case of an accident. If that wasn't dangerous enough, kids were also exposed to the secondhand smoke from their parents anytime they went on a car ride. This is also a time when you might find kids hanging their heads out of the windows to feel the wind in their hair, or to just escape the smoke. At Recollection Road, I believe preserving the past is incredibly important, and our friends at LEGACYBOX do too. So much so, they've offered my viewers a code for 55% off. In today's digital age, analog media like VHS tapes and film reels are fading, risking the loss of cherished memories due to things like mold, dust, and time. But LEGACYBOX, trusted by over 1.5 million families, offers a simple and safe solution to protect your memories before it's too late. With LEGACYBOX, you can convert your analog treasures into digital memories effortlessly. Send your VHS tapes, camcorder tapes, and pictures to LEGACYBOX, and like magic, receive back your originals and digital copies for easy enjoyment, sharing, and organization. And here's the kicker. For a limited time, enjoy an exclusive 55% discount at legacybox.com/recollection. Don't let your memories fade. Preserve your past today with LEGACYBOX. Buy today to take advantage of this exclusive offer and send them in whenever you're ready. Go to legacybox.com/recollection to save 55% while supplies last. Let me know in the comments if I missed anything, and make sure to check the description of this video for links to pick up a t-shirt and sign up for the newsletter. Thank you to our loyal Patreon supporters listed here. Visit patreon.com/recollectionroad to join the club.